way to cut multiple pieces of tape, because we're going to need a lot for this one. So the next thing that I'm going to do is go and put tabs on each one of these. I'm not going to use this piece because it's a little too short. And depending on the size of your piece, you're going to space these, every 3 or 4 inches. You'll start at one corner. Don't pull this tight when you pull it and stick it on here. Just put it on here loosely. And then we will continue to put these all across the edge of the silk and lightly tape those on until we get to the other end. So I have 8 pieces of tape over here on this side, and they're loosely taped on. The next thing I'm going to do is turn my frame 180 degrees, and I'm going to put the tape on the other end. Now, when you go to place your first piece of tape, you don't want to place it directly across from the tape on the other side. Otherwise, you'll get a line. So I'm moving this just about tape widths over to one side. And so I'll just look across and make sure that they aren't lining up. So now I have both ends of my silk mounted. So then I'm going to go to the side. And we'll do the same thing over here. We're going to, sometimes I just like to stick the tape where I'm planning on putting it. So again, we'll start at one end and move our way across the silk. Okay, so I went ahead and put the tape on all 4 sides, doing one side first, the other side second, making sure they don't line up, then doing one side first, the other side second, making sure they don't line up. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch my silk tight. So the easiest way to do this is to put one hand on one side and one hand on the other side, grab those tabs, pull them up, and gently stretch your silk. Now my masking tape's just a little bit too long here, so it's wrapping around the back. If you've done that, then go ahead and fold that tab over again, and then you'll have a little bit more of a tab to work with there. So I have tightened up my tape on both sides here. I'm going to go ahead and turn my project and then start on this side. And what I'm doing here with the ends is, since my tape's just a little too long, as I'm stretching them, I'm just folding over another little tab there. So I've got something to grab onto. So I've tightened up my tape all the way around, and you can see I have a nice tight silk without any lines pulling it across. If I do see a line that's going all the way across, I can go ahead and move that pin and move that piece of tape. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my corners, now that everything's tight, make sure my corners are right where I want them to be. Feels like I went ahead and put them in pretty tight already. So there's my finished canvas and my silk. I'm ready to start painting. So now what we're going to be doing in our project is we're going to be doing magic sizing on this silk. So I think what I'll go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and spray it with the magic sizing just so you can see how that goes on, and then after that's dry I'll show you how I transfer the pattern on. I have my light body magic sizing here, and I usually do this outside, but since I'm not going to be doing any other work in my studio tonight, I'll go ahead and do it down here. So I'm just going to go ahead and spray this evenly across my silk. Now I'm sure all of you that are watching this video know that this was not a procedure, a style of painting that Karen Sistek came up with. And so I won't be doing any videos on how to paint with the magic sizing, but I wanted to give you an idea of how to prep your silk with that. We'll leave the magic sizing painting technique teaching to Karen. So I'm going to look over my silk here, make sure that it's all evenly sprayed. You don't want to spray it so much that it's dripping, but you want to make sure that it's saturated. Now, a few things that I'm noticing here. This was a brand new, fresh piece of silk. In fact, Karen just sent it to me, and I can already see that I've got some color on here. Now, this color is from dye dust that was in the air, or it may have been on my pins, and when I picked up my pins, it may have got on my silk. So I've got quite a few little pieces of dye around here, and since this is a white flower, that may be an issue. So I may choose to paint something else on this piece of silk. I believe this is it's probably 12 habitae. I'll have to check with Karen. And I may mount another piece of silk just to do the white flower and make sure my pins are clean. So to clean your silk pins, you'll want to use alcohol to do that, to keep them from rusting. But I was in a hurry and I didn't do that. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do today. Now I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and then tomorrow we'll come back and I will show you how to sketch on your pattern onto the silk. Thanks for joining me in Sharon Shanklin Studio today, and I just want to thank Karen Sistek and Karen Sistek Studio, because everything I learned about painting on silk I learned from her. So if you get a chance, check out her website at karensistekstudio.com, and you can check out my website as well, SharonShanklinStudio.com. Thanks. Bye now.